Hello everyone, welcome back to another 1T Hockey podcast. I am your host, Martin, and joined today, again, by the one and only, Steven!
Oh, hello. Thank you for having me back. It's nice to do this again.
Yes.
It's been a while.
It's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks now?
3 weeks too long, that's for sure.
I think so. I've been sick, and also the holidays. We've been busy, so pardon us. This is not a full-time job for us, sadly. We'd love to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Support us down below. I have my social insurance number, so you can send the money right away.
Oh, jeez.
And the credit card number is down there too, so don't worry about it. If you want to buy something too, use it. Your heart's content. We got a loaded episode for you guys today.
Yes, we do.
We actually have a big special guest. We have one every episode. Today we are actually joined by the one and only Tiger Woods. Oh, wow. Thank you, Tiger, so much. Oh my God.
Man, I don't know how you pulled the strings to get him on here today, but well done.
Well, actually, he was showing up on Google here. If I could show the relevant article. There we go.
There it is.
Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia, home to richest active NHL stars. Sorry, Steven, I'm gonna cover your face.
No, that's good. That's okay, man. Just allowed for this.
Need to show that is indeed Tiger the Woods. Tiger is in the woods.
Oh, Toronto.
It's usually Adam Driver, but today it's the one and only Tiger Woods.
Yeah, we'll get Adam Driver / Charlie Lindgren. He'll be back later.
He will be indeed back.
Maybe he'll make an appearance later in the show.
The guy, he's actually just still at 5 games played. He's not progressed, but he's still at the top of the leaderboards for goals against the save percentage. So
yeah, but he doesn't qualify for them though anymore.
No, but he's I don't know why, but the website still shows him as number 1, even through the 5 games.
Is this NHL.com that shows him there?
Yeah.
Oh,
I go there, and then Charlie Lindgren top.
There he is, number 1
and save percentage.
I guess. Oh yeah, because minimum played 4 games or more, so he does just qualify for that list. He just qualifies. That's insane.
We have a loaded episode for you guys, although we have organized it to be really great, really good. So leave a like and subscribe down below. Leave your comments. We're going to be talking about the World Juniors, Stanley Cup, no Stanley Cup, the Olympics, some NHL controversies, and we're going to be firing through a lot of news that we missed and we thought that are important to cover.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the World Juniors. Last time we spoke, and we made a video, we covered on the women's being canceled. But the men's were still going on, correct? Yeah,
it was. Yeah, because the last episode we did was the week of the tournament starting. I think it was like the 23rd, 22nd, somewhere around there when we last recorded. So like we last talked about how like they were gonna do with like 50% fans and like all that stuff, and then yeah, I mean all it took was. Well, there was the first day. I forgot what day it was. It was like the 3rd or 4th day of the tournament that like there was one game that got postponed and then, or not postponed, but canceled. And the team that got like COVID affected had to forfeit the game. And then I remember hearing that day that if if 2 more teams get affected, then they have to cancel the tournament because the minimum they need is 8 teams. Well, of course, the next day, 2 more teams. Yeah, the U.S. and I think Czechia was the other team Russia, they were the other team. So those 3 teams all got positive tests with COVID, all had to forfeit their games. And now you're under the 8 teams. You got 7 teams left. Tournament got canceled. It sucks. It really did suck. But they were talking about potentially moving the tournament to later in the year, like in the summer. So it could still happen, which would be nice. And the players who like would be over age at that point are still going to be allowed to participate because they should have been this time around. So, well, let's hope that they get back to it. I want to see a World Juniors, man. Like, I mean, it sucks that it's not going on and didn't happen. Well, we would have known the winner by now.
It did partially in the initial results or even just a glimpse at what was possible. The Connor Bedard getting, what was it, 4 goals in that one game?
Yeah, against Austria. Yeah,
So,
that was actually the last game of the tournament.
yeah. So all things considered, hopefully they come back for this year. If not, maybe the youngins go play for Canada in the Olympics. I don't know if that's possible.
It is very possible. I mean, they don't play in the NHL, so
there you go.
If Canada wants to take them and they want to go, then they can go.
I see no reason why not. Are we done with that subject already?
It feels pretty fast. I don't know if this is just us being like washed up.
I guess, I mean, yeah, maybe a little washed up. We got to settle it down here, okay? Because the women's get canceled. And I remember talking with a friend when, specifically my sister's boyfriend, talking about the situation, how it's a shame that the World Juniors was actually canceled for the men's. And I thought that it was good for them or whatever, screw them. Because they canceled the women's, and they cited the reasons why they canceled it was for safety reasons. So they sort of look like the NHL, like their backwards approach to it, right? They'll look for profits over the safety of their players, whether or not it's male or female.
Yeah.
Like if the females were making more cash, they would rather put the female out there, and the same situation would happen. It doesn't matter what the sex is; it just matters about the money. And that's not how it should work. They didn't care about the teams to begin with. It just seems like a failure. And if they do, they should definitely not do it during winter time where COVID is at its worst, or pick a situation or a time or a place, bubble the crap out of it. I know that they were sort of bubbled, but not enough because people still went out and went to weddings and whatnot. And that's terrible. So a little bit of a lack of discipline in terms of for the players, but maybe more restrictions is needed from the higher ups. Maybe more money. Again, they were tight for cash already. The year prior, they canceled, right? Or they had no attendance, so weren't making too much money off of that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially that's the thing too. Once they announced that the capacity was being cut from 100% to 50%, then you lose a ton, because obviously with the tournament being in Canada, every Canada game is going to be sold out and going to have max capacity because we love our hockey here. That's just how it is.
We do.
And yeah, I mean, Canada they can fund that tournament every single year, because even when it's in like Europe or the US, the Canadians, they travel well, man. They get to that tournament and they fill up that arena no matter where it is. It's good to see.
It is good to see. There's lots of proud Canadians out there, even that don't live in Canada, that still support. The same goes to the NHL. Lots of fans all around the world. That's why we need the international games just as much as we need the NHL. It grows the game.
Yeah.
And just do it right, guys. Do it right. I guess for our next big topic, that was quick. The second topic is that 2 former off-ice officials are suing the NHL, alleging that they were fired for reporting colleagues' racist language and sexual charged language as well.
Yeah, this is a big one. I haven't read, to be honest, I haven't really read too much.
To read it through?
I mean, if you can sum it up, then you can do that. If you've gone over it.
Well, I haven't really gone over it, but I can give a quick summary here. So they both work for Tampa Bay Lightning for home games, and that's where they reported the racist comments of a colleague named Pat DeLorenzo Jr. to the supervisor. That I guess the vice president of human resources, and they filed that recently, so December 2019. They expressed concerns that they would be fired in retaliation, and then they were fired February 27th in 2020, so a year after, despite being told that they were protected under the NHL's whistleblower policy. So they're requesting compensation and punitive damages, as well as reinstatement to a job comparable to their old position. So they want to go maybe back into the NHL, or at least something that pays as well. So they declined to comment. The NHL declined to comment on the situation. That the TSN made an attempt to reach DiLorenzo. Of course, the guys who came out, I don't think are known. Oh, actually, no, they already said Waluyak and Watkins. What's their first name? There you go. David Waluyak and James Watkins. So apparently he made racial comments about NHL employees, including not limited to the NHL's African American Hockey League players and veterans. A singer that sings the national anthem in Tampa Bay Lightning games. Yeah, just a list of derogatory things that the guy did.
Yeah. Oh, God. So, I mean,
there's also videos too.
Jeez. I mean, yeah. Okay. So now just realizing what is, because we talked about this actually the other night at dinner with my family. So I kind of knew a bit about it, but not too much. But yeah, now kind of after reading that, thank you very much for reading that, by the way.
No problem. Did my best. I was doing that on the fly.
Yeah, no, I could tell. No, but yeah, like it just, like, especially when the part about the NHL denying to comment on it, like clearly that's just them not being prepared. Like they weren't prepared for this to come out, so that caught them off guard. But again, like the fact that they don't comment on it right away and just like, like Gary Bettman's got to be his lawyer self and come out with a statement or make things like look like, oh, like we didn't know about this. Like that's the thing, they always do. That's basically the point I'm trying to make here, is that the NHL is just doing their classic turn a blind eye. We didn't know about it, we'll look into it now. But it's like, you definitely knew about this the whole time and just ignored it.
They're talking like lawyers.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're trying to say like, oh, we didn't know a single thing about this, but like, no, they definitely did. They've been trying to cover this up for probably as long as they could.
So apparently he was fired as well. So
who, DiLorenzo?
Yeah, DiLorenzo and a guy named Brace. Brace, I believe he was the guy who told them that there would be no repercussions, that they were protected by the whistleblower.
Right.
Yeah, that type of that program. So DiLorenzo and Brace were both fired January 2nd. And then David and James, right? I think that's his.
Yeah, James, they were fired. Yeah,
they were fired subsequently in February.
For alleged involvement in a group message thread of DiLorenzo's an unknown number of years earlier.
So yeah, the NHL refused to provide any documents for that particular case. And so they got fired and they don't actually know why. There is no actual proper termination given.
Well, yeah, they're basically saying that, hey, we were fired on like the wrong terms,
the wrong pretenses.
Yeah, like they didn't actually give like a legitimate answer reason for
What's
firing.
Strange to me is that they fired DiLorenzo and Brace being the guy that promised them that protection. So I don't understand why they would shoot themselves in the foot after removing the guy who was the one that was causing the trouble. Maybe maybe there's more to this. DiLorenzo is hiding something and the NHL is hiding something. I don't know what you could be hiding. Maybe Brace has something to do with it, right? Allowing the type of that attitude, that type of negligence to other people. He had nothing to say about this for however long, and these two guys had to come up being the grunts of the work, and they're like, oh hey, what about this? So who knows what's going to come out of this. Maybe there will be more names, maybe more people will be not as afraid to come out and speak of others. We'll see how it ends. Well, you think it's going to end like a Chicago Blackhawks situation?
No, I don't think it'll be that big. not to say just because I'm like, I don't know, I just like it's not important. I just don't think it's gonna get to that level of like kind of how it was talked about. But I mean, it's still a pretty big deal. Like, I mean,
Do you think the rabbit hole is going to go deeper?
yeah, I definitely do. I don't think this is the end of the story. I think there's going to be more coming out, especially since, I mean, like this past Tuesday was like the first that anyone has heard about it pretty much like in the public, right? So
right.
Clearly this has been a story that's been developing for a long time. It finally surfaced, which good. And like things like this, especially racism now in 2022, like that's something that, yeah, definitely we got to clean up, and the NHL especially has to clean up their act. And like that too, like how I mentioned with the Tampa anthem singer, like she's a great singer. I like every time the Leafs are in town, or last year during the playoffs, watching home like Tampa Bay home games, she's got a great voice and she sings the anthems, both anthems, Canadian and American, very well. And I don't know, just something like that is totally uncalled for, especially from a guy who works for the league. You're supposed to represent their views. But again, I mean, if the league, like, I mean, they did fire him, I understand that, but I mean, there's so many things of racism in the NHL. It's almost like I'm not surprised to hear this again. And it's sad that I'm not surprised, because like it shouldn't be that way. That I'm not surprised. I should be surprised to hear something like this, but I'm not. And it's terrible. It's a bad look on the league. And yeah, I mean, I just hope that this all gets sorted. I hope that those two guys that got fired for the wrong reasons, I hope that they get something, like whether it's compensation or even get reinstated and get their positions back as officials. Like, I don't know. I just want it to be right for them. And yeah.
Like, didn't the NHL release a video with the HDA about the racism?
Yeah, that was 2 years ago in the bubble. That's how long ago that was.
I thought there was a recent one that just came out, a new one.
I think that was just HDA on its own, because I remember hearing shortly after the bubble, like that, like basically fall 2020. I remember hearing that, like, so the players that were a part of the HDA were basically saying how like the league, like the NHL was like basically didn't care about that initiative anymore. They'd moved on from it. Okay. So HDA basically separated themselves from the NHL and was like, okay, we're just going to work independently with our sponsors.
There's a new video that came out with Budweiser, January 8th, 2022.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not something with the league. That was with their own, like just a sponsor that they had.
That's right.
Because I said,
they wouldn't use their logos or anything with that.
No, and that's the thing too. In the commercial, I'm pretty sure if you look, or that ad, like they're not wearing any of the team equipment because they can't get the rights to use that if it's not NHL.
I'm showing it right now. Playback speed. Let's put it faster. So yeah, they're showing the HDA jersey, and this came out January 8th. So this maybe 3 days 3 days later, this news came out of the racist comments and whatnot. So maybe there's going to be another step, an extra step. There needs to be something that changes. There shouldn't be racism in this sport.
No, not at all. Like,
is there racism in the NBA? I wonder. Is that a thing?
I'm sure there is.
I don't think they would want to screw around with a 6'10" Adetokounmpo or.
Well, I mean, there was the news, how many years ago was it now, about the Clippers' former owner before Steve Ballmer, how he was clearly racist. Remember, there was like all things he was saying, like he basically called them slaves. He called the players slaves. Yeah,
I did not hear about that.
I can't remember the guy's name now. And it's bugging me because it was a big story. No, he's the current owner. It was the owner before him. I can't remember his name, but he was a massive racist, and it was not good. Which is why the NBA got rid of him, though. They forced him. They're like, hey, listen, we can't have you around. We're forcing you to sell the team. And then Steve Ballmer bought it, and things have been great. And I mean, great. They haven't won a championship, but they got Kawhi.
Right. This is true.
And I mean, he's great to watch at the sidelines.
Who doesn't like watching Kawhi? He won us a cup. Or not cup. What is this? I don't even know what he won a trophy for us. What is it called?
It's the Lombardi Trophy. No, that's the NFL. Oh my God!
They won the
How come I'm
championship
blanking out?
in Toronto. There you go. That's all.
Yeah, I think is it just called the NBA championship, or is there like another? Oh my
There
God,
is.
Larry O'Brien Trophy, Larry
Wow.
OB. That's it.
Larry OB.
Oh man, I knew it would come back to me. I knew it was coming back.
I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have. And that's sad. That's very sad. Donald
okay,
Sterling.
Man. Yes,
Yes.
that was his name.
He had a history
that's
of
him.
accusations of racist behavior against African Americans and Latinos.
Yeah, it's not, especially in basketball too, where like majority of the league is made up of African Americans and like those types of players. Like you can't be the owner of an NBA team in that situation, and that's why they forced him out of that position and to basically not be associated with the NBA anymore because it was a bad look. But like, see, I remember when that story came out, and by the time it was resolved, it only took a couple months. Like they got it done quickly, and that's the problem with the NHL. They don't resolve their issues fast enough, I think.
Well, okay, you don't hear about owners being racist very often. I don't think I've heard of that happening. NHL owner racism.
No, it doesn't. It's more, I'd say it's more with like coaches and like within the actual
Players.
like the team. Yeah, it's not so much ownership. It's more so like, yeah, the executives, like the GMs, the coaches, they're the ones that are more like that, at least in hockey, which is
the general managers you think is racist.
Well, because I'm just thinking back like a couple of years ago, like when Akeem Aliu first spoke up about how he was treated when he was playing on Carolina's farm team. And I can't remember the coach at the time. He was coach of, oh my God, he was coach of the Calgary that year. And then they fired him. Bill Peters, was that his name?
That is a coach.
Yeah, he was the one. He got fired because all this stuff came out about him.
Right,
He
yes,
was
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Because I remember it was such a weird time because Babcock got fired from the Leafs and all the stuff about how he was treating Marner and the players there came out. And then shortly after that is when all like basically like I remember there's 3 coaches that like stories all came out on. Babcock, Peters, and I forgot the other guy, but it was just like it was just like this eye-opening experience for like people like, okay, yeah, like they're not like just gonna take it anymore.
We thought that they were nicer people, but they're...
Yeah, well, I mean, Babcock, that one, there's always kind of been the rumor about how, like, he's, like, everyone knew he's not so much a player's coach. So, like, that wasn't really surprising. Like, you know, with Babcock, it's either it's his way or get out of here.
That's right.
Yeah, so that one wasn't really a shocker, but yeah, with some of the other guys, especially with the Bill Peters thing being racist towards Akeem Aliu and telling, like, I remember one of the things was like something about like I think just like I guess Aliu was playing some of his music in like the locker room, like the music he listens to.
Yeah.
And like the coach just came up to him and basically told him to like turn that N-word stuff off. And it's like, oh my God. He's like, it's like you can't do that. You know what I mean? And like I understand with that though, like I remember the Flames, they did like their own internal investigation. I'm sure he was honest with them because like within like a couple of days they announced their mutual parting of ways. So clearly he owned up to what he said, but still it doesn't excuse that he said it and did all those things. Kind of like in this situation.
When I'm talking about like the NHL not being able to fix their racism, they do. The Bill Peters is gone. Babcock doesn't have a job, but I don't think it was racist.
Babcock wasn't racist.
No.
He was more so just a bully because like you hear about like what he did with Marner, and then even in Detroit, it was like he was like abusing Johan Franzen, pretty much. Like he was all over him for like no reason too. Like I remember he was a great player like when he was in his prime, and like Detroit was good. Like I loved Johan Franzen and
just picked at him, man.
Yeah, it's just sad. Like you hear him, like he's basically just like picking on him in practice and like all the time, and just like poor guy. I think there might have even been like a bit of physical abuse too, but I can't remember if I'm right about that.
Alleged, maybe.
Yeah, like I said,
you're throwing that out here.
This was all like over. This was all like 2 years ago. So
do you see my screen here?
Why is this coming? We got it.
Why is Tiger Woods again?
Tiger Woods is everywhere, people.
He's in COVID protocol. He will be taking over Actually, yeah, Marner's out and
Oh
Engvall's
no,
coming
Marner
back.
and Engvall are back. That is good news. I actually
Right.
need to know about that. So that's good.
Casey, is Richie still on the Leafs?
Yes, he is.
Okay,
No
well,
one claimed him off waivers.
we'll talk. I guess we could talk about that in the fire round. We're gonna do a fire round after
Yeah.
this topic. Are we done with this topic?
I'd say so. Yeah. I mean,
We'll have
we
to wait
just
and see. Right?
yeah. Again, this is still like such a new story. We can when more news comes out, we'll follow up to let everyone know, and also for us too. Like I want to keep up with this story. This is a big one.
We have to. It's a big story and could be just as big as that Chicago one, if not bigger.
Yeah, I think it is. It's basically on the same level, I'd say. But yeah.
That's it for that segment. Now we're going to be firing off through these smaller stories. Pew, 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 fire lightning round. Let's go. First little topic here. The Montreal Canadiens are down to 3 candidates for the general manager position. Matthew Darche, and then there is Daniel Briere. And the third one is...
Sorry, can you say that one to all the non-French speaking people in the crowd?
Daniel Briere.
That is Daniel.
Sorry.
Yes, Daniel. Yeah, Daniel Briere. I'd love to see him get the job. To be honest, I mean, just he's a name I recognize. I mean, Matthew Darche, I recognize that name too. But I mean, Briere, I loved him as a player.
Yeah. He played 973 games, and Darche played 250, so you can't really.
Yeah, it's not comparable. It's apples and oranges.
Look, if you can get rid, if you get rid of Shea Weber's contract, give him the general manager position. If you could be like, hey, buddy, we'll take you as a GM, just cancel your contract with us. See you later. Enjoy your retirement as your general manager. But yeah, I see you have a job. I'd like that because there's still another position, another person, another candidate that they did not, or Eric Engels that broke this out. He didn't specify who the third one was. I also expect a couple of others who were interviewed to possibly land jobs with the club. So
yeah, just looking at that as well.
Even more to this. So maybe Daniel Briere doesn't get signed as a general manager, maybe as an assistant with someone else, or who knows how this will go. But it's very exciting news to come out of Montreal. Very excited to see who is the general manager there.
Well, it's because that's the thing. Obviously, this has to be a French-speaking person because of Jeff Gordon being the president.
That's right.
Like they need, so that's why obviously like Briere, Darche, and all these other guys are being considered. And whoever the third person is, I am curious though. Yeah, maybe that third person. I mean, it's not named, but maybe it is Patrick Waugh.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear
it. Oh, but again, it does say here that
it'll be cancer in the locker room if they do bring him in.
But it also does say too, though, that if they don't get the GM job, they'll be considered for other jobs within the team. So
I don't think he's gonna take any. Maybe coaching.
I mean, maybe goalie coach.
I don't know if he would do that. Has he ever been a goalie coach?
He's been a head coach.
Right.
So, I mean, that's above goalie coach. He oversaw the goalie coach. I mean, I'm sure goalie coach for him would be easier or doable.
Yeah,
and you basically just tell the guy, yeah, this is how you give him a good uppercut, you know?
You show him what's good, the French way.
You tell them I got 2 Stanley Cup ring plug in my ear. That's one of my favorite quotes of all time.
What a legend, eh?
He is a legend. And that's why he's going to be the general manager of the Habs.
God. Before we keep talking about Patrick Waugh, relating to the Montreal Canadiens, Marc Bergevin, he recently signed I don't even know if he signed a contract, but he was brought in to advise the general manager.
Yeah, so he's basically just like special advisor to the general manager. It's basically just like one of those like executive roles that like you just give to a guy who's kind of been around, but you don't want to give him the title.
So you don't want to give him the lead. You don't want to have him press the final button.
No, exactly. Basically, just have him there to just be like it's like actually I found out last year I remember the Leafs hired Paul McLean, the former Senators coach. You know which guy I'm talking about?
That doesn't ring a bell.
He had for lack of a better term, he looked like a walrus. He had like
I sort of have an idea of who we're talking about.
I remember before last season hearing about how they brought him on, but then I never saw him before behind the bench of any games. Yeah, okay, you got the picture there. I see. So, but then I saw through that Amazon series that came out back in the fall about the Leafs, he was basically just like a special advisor for Sheldon Keefe, which makes sense. Like Keefe being this young coach, like first time NHL coach. He won't know everything right away. So you bring in a guy like Paul McLean just to kind of be like that advisor and give some advice and say like, well, maybe you should go in a different direction or consider this, right? Like take it from a guy who's had that experience. And even him, like I think he was not coach of the Sens when they went to the conference finals. But either way, still he was coach of Sens teams that went to the playoffs, very good Sens teams. Mind you, that they weren't very good, but they played a lot better. He was able to make that team play above their potential. So, yeah, maybe this is just something similar like that, where you have Bergevin there just because clearly he has done very good work. Like we've been over in the past when we talked about him getting fired. Like he's done a lot of good things for Montreal and even his time in Chicago too. He was pretty good there as an assistant. So it's good to have a guy like that on, especially because I think Rob Blake, I think he's a first-time general manager.
Just want to clarify. We didn't say that where he went to. I didn't say he went to Los Angeles.
Yes.
Just want to clarify that for everyone.
Yeah.
Where the hell did he go to, Martin? No, he went back to Montreal to advise a general manager.
Yeah, hey Jeff, I need to tell you, you're doing a bad job.
You see that Rem Pitlick guy? Go pick him up off the waivers. It's a very Bergevin move to do as well.
Yeah, it is very Bergevin. But yeah. So just to have him there with the Kings with Rob Blake, and like they have a very new management team there. I think like Luc Robitaille is there somehow too, and with the Kings, so. They have guys that obviously it's probably their first time doing these jobs. So you bring in Bergevin, you can advise them, help them out, and, hopefully bring them back to winning ways. I mean, I'm looking at the Pacific standings right now. It looks like California's back, right? Anaheim second, LA third, San Jose fourth.
It's a fight in the Pacific right now. And in fact, we're going to talk about it more in detail, but the Oilers struggling so far. They dropped down quite a few slots here, and the last 10 games with 2-6-2, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2-6-2 in their last 10. I mean, they started off the year something ridiculous. If you look even bigger, you can probably look at their last 20 games. It's probably not a pretty record either.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've heard a lot of issues. I remember hearing Dave Tippett speaking out about Koskinen's goaltending. Then the next day, Koskinen kind of answered back and said it's kind of hard when you don't have the goal support or from when your team's not scoring in front of you. So I don't know what's going on there, who's got a problem with who, but they need to figure something out. I'm hearing people saying Tippett should be fired. I think that's too rash of a conclusion. I think he let him play out the rest of the season.
Well, Holland likes to do that as well. He doesn't like to fire coaches midway through the season. He likes to finish them through and through. And I think that's going to be the case with him as well. I don't think the Edmonton Oilers are going to miss the playoffs, personally.
No, I agree. I think they'll figure it out. Looking though at the West, let me look at the wild card in the West. They're there.
The Central is very strong, and I believe that they hold the fifth wildcard spot as well.
No, there's one of each.
Yep.
One Pacific, one Central. But again, with the way with postponements and everything, Dallas has 5 games in hand on San Jose. Calgary, Winnipeg, and Edmonton all have 4 games in hand on them. You know what I mean? It's so I still say if you look at points percentage, that's the best way to do things.
Yep.
So Dallas is actually, it'd be more between Dallas, Calgary, and Winnipeg. But that's the thing. You look at Edmonton, they're just slipping. They're in free fall right now.
they have been going through injuries and COVID protocol. McDavid, Draisaitl being out. Again, you say goalie troubles as well. And I do feel bad for the goalie, but at a certain point, there is, I know he does know that. He knows himself, Koskinen, that there's accountability when you're in net. That, you're accountable. The first goal that he let in, I believe, was a total flop. Like, he went behind the net and chucked it, and the rest was history. Another goal went in. And that's why he said, the coach said those things. Dave Tippett said that. And I don't really disagree with him. I think you gotta, and they also know a problem with their team in particular is that they don't start games properly. They start games poorly, and that is discipline. And they're going to need it if they're going to want to win a series without Connor McDavid or Draisaitl. It's pretty much that easy. I believe they're also missing out on some defensemen as well. They're having a tough time, just like most teams are, but I think they and a few others are the ones taking the brunt of it, really.
Yeah, big time.
So I believe that's it for the Oilers. Unless you have something else.
I mean, they got to figure it out soon. That's for sure.
Yeah. Mr. Holland, in relation to him, the Detroit Red Wings, they signed Nick Lidstrom as a vice president of hockey operations. It's some news. It's nice to see him back into the NHL.
Yeah, it's great. I think we all had a feeling deep down eventually it was going to happen. It was a matter of when the timing was. Obviously, with Steve Yzerman being back, a former teammate of his, and being the president and GM of that team, it kind of was like, okay, yeah, it's more likely to happen now. Just a quick talk of Lidstrom, I guess, on his career. Two-time Stanley Cup champion.
Four-time Stanley Cup.
Four-time. He was there 96 and 97 too. There it is.
20 seasons in the NHL.
Yep.
You see my screen?
And a gold medal to boot. Yep. He won the Conn Smythe in 2002 as well. Just a great career, a very classy person as well.
I think he was one of the best personalities there.
Yeah, he's so well liked across the entire league. Like, I have not heard one bad thing about Nick Lidstrom ever, and I don't think I ever will.
Who was that?
Also, seven-time Norris Trophy winner. To list off the years, so you can just see how dominant he was. 2001, 2002, 2003.
Well, he was just a piece of the puzzle for that dominant Detroit Red Wings team, right? But he was a staple.
He had 2 3-peats of the Norris Trophy. 01, 02, 03, 06, 07, 08, and then a final one in 2011, which I think that was 2011 was his one of his final seasons. I think that was his second last season. So for him to win it that late, I guess that would have been season 9. I assume. I want to just figure that. Yeah, because I want to be correct.
2011, 2012, he played.
Yep.
So he didn't win the Norris that year, so he won 2010, 2011, and got 62 points. The year after, the 2012 season, he had 34 points.
I mean, he did that, I'm looking, he was born in 1970, so in 2011, he would have been 41 years old. I'm
sure he could play until he was 46. Yager he can.
He easily could have. But yeah, so just think about that. He won a Norris in his second last season. That's actually insane.
He is a stud.
100% a stud. It did say in this article here that he's a member of the Triple Gold Club, Stanley Cup, IIHF World Championship, and gold medal. So he's one of those guys who's done it all,
It won't be forgotten, that's for sure.
Yeah. And the good thing about being brought on about this, you get maybe a bit of oh, wow. Actually, I'm reading. Sorry, I got sidetracked. I'm reading more in this article. I'm finding out that Sean Horkoff works for the Detroit Red Wings as well. Daniel Cleary, Nicholas Kronwall. They got all these former players working for them.
Oh, look at that.
Man, everyone wants to work. The one thing I'm getting from this is everyone wants to work for Yzerman because Yzerman knows how to win, how to build a winning culture. Look at Tampa.
Yeah.
Like, look at Tampa. Look at what he's doing now in Detroit. Like, things are looking good. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, but they're looking very good for the future.
There's a
And
chance, right?
there's still that outside chance. Yeah, I'm not going to deny it. But I think that they're still, we've talked about it a lot. I think they're still just too young, and even like they're pretty far out of a playoff spot, actually.
Yeah, they are. Looking at it now, they're they have 4 games in hand versus Boston, and
Like, they need to
Boston's
go on
ahead.
a run. They need to go like 8-2 in their next 10 games to pretty much get back in the playoff picture. But still, I mean, the fact that they're back to a middle team, like, that's what I expected from them, and that's the step they needed to make. So good things happening in Detroit.
Yes.
And yeah,
Prospects are showing up on the top, and they have the best players right now, and one of them might win the Calder. So go Detroit. Hopefully, all the best to Lidstrom there at his new position.
Yeah, me too, man. Wish him all the best. He's always been one of my favorite defensemen growing up, so I definitely want to see him do well there.
I can second that for sure. Next little news bit: Eichel on the ice in Vegas for first time for practice. I don't think it's practice. It's just like a skate.
Yeah, it was like I guess.
Still no timeline to play. So we're hoping would be the second week of February. So that would be exciting, and I don't know if that would be in time for the All-Star, which we'll get into. But you have anything else to say about this?
Yeah, no, I mean, it looks like his timetable is kind of going as they planned. Like, because he did say back when he was traded in November that I think it would be about, like, I remember at the time, I think the reports were like 3 to 5 months. So 3 being the earliest. And again, seeing him on the ice now in January means he's progressing really well. And, Vegas fans, you're about to get we'll see how he does. Like, remember, by the time he does get into an NHL game, it will be over a year since he last played.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see if he can shake that rust off, if he has any rust as well. But if he does, how quickly can he get it off? And I mean, the most important thing for Vegas, for his teammates and everyone, is just get him on the board with a goal and like points early, get his confidence going, right. And then they're a scary team to deal with, because right now, I mean, they've had a lot of injuries too this season. So to get him back in the lineup and be effective, if he is, that's just a recipe for a deep playoff run again from Vegas.
That's right. And they are sitting at the top of their division right now. With the addition of Eichel, like you said, if confidence, and hopefully he does hold his confidence high up there and he can pot himself some goals, and it's not like a cold stretch after once he comes back, the whole Kyrie Irving effect with the Celtics. That hopefully that doesn't happen. And I believe they also do need to do roster changes when Jack Eichel comes, because they haven't done any trades to remove that cap other than getting rid of Alex Tuck. And I think that's half the equation. They need to get rid of another $5 million or something like that.
Let me see this actually. They might be okay. I'm not quite sure.
Right now, if you look at their salary, they'd be okay because he's on injury reserves. But once he's back in the books, though,
so you just have to. I understand. Yeah, I just don't know what they'll have to do. I mean, looking at their LTIR, like, they have Eichel and Martinez are both on the LTIR. Pacioretty is on their normal IR. It says Shea Theodore is listed as a non-roster, which I don't understand that. I won't read too much into that, though, because he was playing Wednesday night against the Leafs. But yeah, I don't know. The salary cap's a weird thing. Or sorry, played Tuesday night against the Leafs. Because I remember Wednesday night, Sandin wasn't in the lineup for the Leafs, and I found out yesterday it was because of salary cap issues.
That's right. I heard something about that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's like, you see, like, just teams will do like these, like, especially the Leafs, they do this a lot, obviously, because of how close to the cap they are. They'll just, like, randomly call up and send down players just to fool around with the salary cap. They know what they're doing, and that's all that matters. So I mean, with Vegas, you hope that they know what they're doing too, and they can make it work. So, yeah, we'll see.
You hope to see it. They have a projected cap hit of $91 million this year.
Yeah, so they basically need $10 million in LTIR accrued to be able to be legal in a way.
Right. So that's the whole. So they got to get rid of $10 million essentially of cap space.
Well, no, they don't have to get rid of. Basically, with the LTIR, the amount of time you have a guy on there gets like added to this like accrued list of money, and as long as they can get 10 million in that like accrued money, they're fine. They don't have to worry about anything. Like look at like Tampa did it last year.
Yeah, but
right?
no, they could do it because the regular season, they put him on IR, and then the playoffs he was back, and the salary cap didn't count.
Yeah.
There was nothing. The player doesn't count against the salary. But if the player comes back in the regular season off the IR, then the team has to pay for his contract.
But not the whole thing.
There's no crew.
Yeah, obviously. There is.
Well, because the season going on, there's less games, therefore there's less salary to pay off for that player, right? If he comes back in February, that's halfway through the season, he can only get a portion of his contract.
Yeah, but it's not about the money being paid to him. He's getting the money regardless. Like that doesn't matter. It's about the salary cap.
Yes, the physical. Yeah.
Yeah, so when they acquired him in November, you have him on LTIR until now. It's been, 3 months?
Sure.
So that's 3 months worth of salary cap that's being accrued and is being added back into, it adds salary cap. So 3 months worth of 10 mil is probably 3 million. So just from Eichel alone being on LTIR, they are probably 3 or 4 million more they've added 4 million to their salary cap. So now they could spend 4 million over and still be legal. That's how it works. And that's what Tampa was able to exploit big time last year.
Whoever is in charge of Cap Friendly, I want to give you big ups because that's a lot of work. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm sure they have a large team of people probably working there, and yeah, hats off to them. Everyone in the hockey community loves this page, especially me. I think I'm on here at least twice a day.
It's for the number nerds, eh?
Oh yeah,
the number nerds.
The N squared.
Next story, quickie. Alex Nylander for Sam Lefferty trade.
Mm-hmm.
This is his third time. We're talking about Nylander here getting traded. Sam Lefferty, I think he was drafted in the 5th round.
I
don't know why my memory is like that, but
I don't have it in front of me right now.
113th overall, 4th round. Sorry.
Yeah, still mid round pick. He's turned out to be one of those players that Pittsburgh just kind of brings up randomly. You never heard of this guy, but he finished his college career and now he's a star, and Pittsburgh just does that. Well, sorry, not a star, but he's an effective depth player.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say.
He never really got great seasons, Steven. He was a 4th line player.
Still, he was a pretty good 4th liner. I remember.
Never cracked 20. He got 13 points max. That's it.
Really?
Yeah. 13 points in 50 games. In the playoffs, he was not a contributor at all.
Never mind then. Okay.
So he's not even that big of a prize object, really.
No, well, I mean, even Nylander, he kind of, as it's saying here,
well, he's a 1st round pick. So
yeah, but he's been playing in the AHL.
He has, but how do you feel about it? Do you think that Nylander will have a better chance in Pittsburgh, will be able to bounce back? And I know we were talking. The narrative has been there since the beginning for him, since he was traded the first time from Buffalo to Chicago.
Yeah.
So
I mean, clearly.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say clearly. I think this is just a matter of two teams that see these guys and want them to be more, and they're thinking maybe it's just a change of scenery that they need.
So far in 3 games for the AHL, the Scranton Penguins, he's got 3 points, 3 assists in 3 games, and he has a plus minus of 0. with the Rockford
Not
Ice
bad.
Hogs, he was a -10 and had 12 points in 23 games.
Yeah, that's
So it's
so
good.
again, it's just a change of scenery. Sometimes that's what a player needs. They've just been in the same environment for a long time and things start to get stale. And then you move them somewhere else and all of a sudden they feel free and they have a fresh start and they can maybe make a new first impression and I don't know, be effective again, I guess.
If the Leafs were offered Alex Nylander, would you have taken it? Like, what would you give back? Nick Ritchie or something like that?
Yeah. Would the Chicago accept that? Yeah, probably actually.
If they asked for like
Actually,
Jason Spezza.
well, no one's asking for Spezza because everyone knows Spezza is a Leaf, and that's all. He's gonna be a Leaf for the rest of his career until, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so say the Leafs, yes, they could pull it off. You think they didn't want to for a specific reason? This guy's a
He's 23 years old and he hasn't cracked the NHL like consistently. He's kind of becoming a bust. It's unfortunate, but
he's not. I don't think he's found his place yet.
No, he hasn't either. That's the thing. He still has time to recover, and I think that's what Pittsburgh's doing. Like Brian Burke, he's a smart guy. He's built a lot of good teams in the past, so you got to think that he like taking this chance on Nylander. It's low risk, which that's the thing too. It's low risk, so who cares if it works? You look like a genius. If it doesn't work, oh well, on to the next guy. It doesn't really matter in that sense.
Yeah. It would be still nice to see the brothers together and rocking it out in Toronto.
Winning a cup together.
That will never happen.
One can dream, though. One can dream.
The All-Star teams were announced recently, as well as the jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the article that I have is not working.
Yeah.
I think I fixed it. I guess there's a... Okay, I did not fix it. I'm trying to get it, but if you want to talk about it.
Yeah. So the rosters were revealed yesterday, along with the captains and the head coaches. So I guess should we just list them off? Starting like, do you want me to just do that?
Sure.
Okay. So for the Metropolitan Division, head coach Rod Brindamore from Carolina, and representing the team is Frederick Anderson and Sebastian Aho from Carolina. Columbus has Zach Growensky. New Jersey's got
sorry, Metropolitan?
Yes, starting with the Metro.
Am I looking at the wrong? Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I was looking at the 2021, bro. Does matter.
Oh, gee. Yeah, you're in like 2021. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not in the right area.
Blue Jackets have Zach Rowensky going to the game. The Devils have Jack Hughes. Islanders, Adam Pelech. Rangers, Adam Fox and Chris Kreider. The Flyers got Giroux. Penguins got Tristan Jarry. And Capitals have Ovechkin. Each team also has this. They started doing this a few years ago, kind of like similar to what baseball has with their All-Star game, like a last man in.
Yeah.
So like each team has one player, and one player from each division will get voted in. So Carolina's is Svechnikov. Actually, no. Here, we'll come back to it at the end, and then we can go over all of them.
I have it on the screen right now.
So okay, no, but I was gonna say we can predict in the end like which one we think will get the last man in vote. You know what I mean? So We'll come back to those at the end. We'll go through all the rosters first.
Okay. Well,
the Atlantic.
How many can go in from the last
one per division?
So out of the many
out of the 8 players
listed, wow, there can only be one that goes in.
Only one per division, yeah. So that's why we'll come back to that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say you can read the Atlantic if you want.
Sure. Drake Batherson from Ottawa. Petrus Bergeron, Boston, Jonathan Huberto from Florida, Dylan Larkin from Detroit, Austin Matthews, Toronto, Nick Suzuki, Montreal, Rasmus Dahlin, Victor Hedman, Jack Campbell, Andre Vasilevsky. That is the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, being head coached by Andrew Burnett of the Florida Panthers.
I don't see that. I don't see the coaching on this.
It doesn't.
You gotta send me that article.
It's the one I got
here. I got something.
Actually, you're the one. You put the article on the.
My art. I don't know why it doesn't show up. I get the 404 error. Thank you, Hockey News. Thank you.
Close it and open it again. That's weird.
I did. I had done that. That's all
I'm
right.
afraid to refresh this page now.
Andrew Brunette is the Atlantic coach. That's
all
funny.
Right.
You get replacing Q, Coach
Yeah.
Glenville, and then he's the head coach now.
I mean, look at Florida. They're still they kept buzzing. They didn't slow down. Yeah, they didn't let that get in the way.
I guess it's more the product of the players and the general manager than it was from the coach.
Yeah, I think the system, like they had the system in place. Obviously, Burnett was already with the team, so he just kept that system going. It's like you didn't have to change much. But yeah, moving on. Central Division, head coach by Jared Bednar of the Colorado Avalanche. Representing the Central from the Arizona Coyotes, Clayton Keller. From Chicago, Alex DeBrincat. From Colorado Avalanche, it's McKinnon and Makar. From the Dallas Stars, Pavelski. From Minnesota, Kaprizov and Cam Talbot. From Nashville, UC Saros. From St. Louis, Jordan Kyrou. And from Winnipeg, Kyle Connor.
Why is there just one defenseman in the Central Division?
That's a good question. I just
and there's
realized
also
that
one defenseman in the Pacific. So that makes it a little clear for us for the last man in ballot.
I mean, it's a 3-on-3 All-Star game tournament, so does defense really matter? No. It's gonna be goals anyways.
You're right.
Plus, it's an All-Star game. No one plays defense in an All-Star game.
It isn't really a traditional All-Star process, that's for sure.
No, it is not.
For the Pacific Division, Leon Draisaitl, Jordan Eberle, Johnny Gaudreau, Adrian Kemp, Connor McDavid, Timo Meier, Mark Stone, and Alex Pietrangelo in the net with Thatcher Demko and John Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we could talk about the last man in now, if you want to, starting with the Metropolitan.
All right.
Who do you think is going to go in?
Well, okay, so I'll go over each one. I'll read out all the candidates and then
it's on the screen. Predict. You don't have to read it out.
Oh, true. Okay.
For the Metropolitan.
Looking at this real quick, I don't have any of their stats in front of me. But if I'm just gonna guess, because it is a vote. Actually, it's more a vote, so it's more a popularity contest. I'm gonna go with. It's tough, but I think Mika Zibanejad gets it.
Wow.
Just because he plays in New York, it's a big market. They're gonna they vote, So I don't know.
I understand that. It's just seeing if Sidney Crosby's not even on this.
No, it's Jake Gensel from Pittsburgh, who's their last man in.
So Pittsburgh only has Tristan Jarry.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
Yep.
I feel so bad for Crosby and for Malkin.
Well, Malkin just came back, so how could he be named to an All-Star team when he's only played one game?
That's fair. It's just a slap in the face. I know Crosby hasn't played a full year, but we're talking about Sidney Crosby. Sit the kid.
Yeah, I know.
If we're talking about, I'd take Evgeny Kuznetsov or Barzal.
That's a good shout as well. Yeah, I was even thinking Svechnikov, but I don't think he'll get enough votes from Carolina. But I do think it should be him. I love Andrei Svechnikov. He's one of my favorite players.
I think Kuznetsov, Barzal, and Zibanejad could be the top three there.
Mm-hmm. And Gensel too. You know what? Pittsburgh, they have a very hardcore fan base, so they you never know. They can vote enough times and get him in.
Jake Gensel is definitely a good player, and nothing against him, but still, it's not Sidney Crosby. Not the name recognition. That's for sure. For the Atlantic Division, Steven, your pick?
I mean, it's between three players, I think.
You're gonna see John Tavares in there. I know
that. Listen, I want it to be him, but I don't think it will be him. I mean, you never know. If he goes on a hot streak over like the next week, then hey, maybe he earns enough votes from fans. But I mean, I think Barkov or Stamkos, I'd put them ahead. But Tavares was the third player I was considering. If I were to choose one though, let's go with Barkov, just because Tampa already has two players there. So give Florida a second guy.
Yeah, Barkov or Raymond. I think
Raymond would be nice.
Barkov might be the number one guy
because
he's been in the league for a bit, but Lucas Raymond being such a highly touted rookie, having him in there would drive up something. I don't know, drive up the game in some way.
Definitely.
So there you go. That's the Atlantic Division for the Central.
Who knows? Tyler Toffoli will probably get it in the end.
I don't know why he's even there, man. Why is he?
Because they have to have someone.
He's such a.
Who else are you gonna pick?
So you put Tyler Toffoli, but not put Sidney Crosby. I don't know. Let's see how Jake Getzel's playing right now this year.
He's having a very good season.
Let me double check that for you, Steven. I want to make sure. He's got 35 points, so yes, he is having a good season.
It's fantastic.
We can say for sure he's not a scrub.
No, he's definitely not a scrub. Okay. Anyways, moving on. I guess Central Division. This one I'm just kind of going over. It's got to be Kadri.
What?
It's got to be. Who else?
A defenseman?
Roman Josi then?
Well, I think I'd rather Roman Josi over the Seth Jones. What the hell?
Yeah, me too. Well, also Josi's better than Jones.
Well, Jones has got 25 points. It's not terrible.
No, it isn't.
Minus 11. I mean, that's just a product of the team.
Yeah, that definitely. But still, I mean, I don't know. Kadri's having a career season right now. How could you not make it him?
You're partially. I agree with you. I just think that considering that the other divisions held, the Metropolitan has 3 defensemen: Adam Fox, Pellig, and Zach Rowinski. So I think it's only fair to have at least a second defenseman. And my pick, anyways, would be Roman Josi. Just gonna stop.
Fair enough. I mean, for me, it's between either one. I think it should just be Kadri, just because he hasn't been to an All-Star game before, and it'd be nice to see him there.
Right.
Josi, I think he'll get more chances to be in the All-Star game in his career. Plus, he's been here. But yeah, either way, he can't go wrong with either one, right?
I don't think so. I think it's Phil Kessel. That's it.
Phil
the thrill.
That'd be awesome.
And for
Too good to be true, though.
Pacific Division, Steven?
Oh man, I mean, again, it's between 2 players. I want it to be Troy Terry, just because he's having an unreal season as well.
Yeah.
And similar reasons as Kadri, but because it's in Vegas, I think it's gonna go to Jonathan Marchessault.
Marchessault.
I think he'll get voted in. Yeah.
He is a good
home crowd.
He is a good favorite in Vegas. I'm going to go with our one and only Drew Doughty. Again, the defenseman.
Our captain.
Mark Giordano.
You're going like left field here.
Yeah.
Again,
well, Giordano's got minus 13, but...
Yeah. Gosh.
For the reason why I got Drew Doughty, I don't know why they put Adrian Kemp there. He's got a decent season, but we're talking about like the Drew Doughty. I feel like those two together would be a good pair to come out of LA. Adrian Kemp, it doesn't ring.
Hold on, can you click on Kempe for a moment? I just want to see his stats. I'm looking through
23 points. And Drew Doughty has 19.
Yeah.
It's still not bad. 23 points, right?
I mean, again, it's one of those things, and I guess we can discuss that now too, about how, like, you know, like, do you believe that every team should have one representative in the All-Star game, or do you think it should just be the best players go to the All-Star game?
I think that the best, just like the NBA is doing, the best player. Just you want to promote the best players out there, and it's like awards in a sense. At the end of the year, you got the number one All-Star team, the second All-Star team, the third, right? That has an impact on players, and people complain about not being on the All-Star in the NBA. You hear, "Oh, I was cut and I'm pissed. I really wanted to be there." Whilst in the NHL, it's like, "Oh, I guess." It's because they don't they don't do an outdoor game, like they do little competitions of slap shots, and that's it. It's not like a dunking contest.
But you see, even that,
and they don't take it serious.
Skills...
They don't take the NHL All-Stars seriously.
Yeah, exactly, and that's my point too. I was gonna say, like, with the skills competition, like, they can only choose players that are in the game itself. Whereas, like, it's not like the NBA where it's like, yeah, you can, like, in the dunk contest, you can have 4 guys that aren't going to be playing the next day in the All-Star game, but they can still take part in that dunk contest because, hey, they're really good dunkers. Like, same thing with the hardest shot competition. Like Chara should be a guy that's in every year. Shea Weber, if healthy, should be in it every year, even whether or not they're in the All-Star game. They should still be there because they have a wicked hard shot, and they should be there to, like, defend their title. And, like, that's another thing too. If you won the year before, you should automatically get an invite back to next year to defend your crown.
If you look at the NBA, they don't bring back the same guys to do dunking contests, right?
Well, no, they basically, like, obviously it depends on who wants to do it. But again, like, if you won the year before, you'd maybe be more inclined to come back, is what I'm saying. Obviously, it's still the player's choice in the end of the day. Like, if you want to come play, you come play. But I don't know. I think it's different too, because the NHL, it's like, if you don't play in the All-Star game, or if you're selected for the All-Star game but then don't want to play, you have to miss 1 game for your team to not be suspended.
Okay.
So it's really weird.
So you essentially get suspended for a game.
Yeah, or you're out.
Yourself.
Like, the typical thing that, like, teams do is, like, I remember, like, Ovechkin used to do this all the time to miss out on All-Star games. Basically, their game before the All-Star game, he would just be injured. He would be out with an undisclosed injury.
Right.
And that's how you get away with it.
Thank you.
The Leafs did. I remember the Leafs didn't have to do that 2 years ago in St. Louis because with Matthews, so he didn't play in the All-Star game, but he still showed up, did all, like, the media stuff, and, like, was there he was still there. Like, he showed up, he just didn't play in the game. But because he showed up and took part in all, like, the media stuff, he didn't have to miss a game for the Leafs. So the Leafs went even bigger brain.
Wow.
Yeah, they found the true way around it.
Well, shit. Okay.
Yeah, just leave it up to Toronto to figure out how to big brain the NHL.
Just wanted to see the jerseys, actually.
Yeah, put those up. I think they're pretty clean. They're nice. They're simple. They didn't do anything crazy. Like, I thought Vegas would, especially being in Vegas. I thought they'd go for something more glittery and flashy and, Vegas. But they went simple.
Are basic. These are pretty basic. I like the red one. I like the red one better the way.
Yeah, the white ones are nice. I don't know. I mean, to me, I think they both look good. They're not, like, the best All-Star game jerseys, but they're also not the worst All-Star game jerseys, which is safe. They went the safe route.
Just the blue one, it just seems weird. I don't know.
I just find it weird how they picked those colors for the Los Angeles or for the Vegas All-Star game. I thought they'd go more Vegas colors, but
these were used or were an inspiration from the 2012 All-Star game.
Ah, yeah.
And they look.
I remember those jerseys. I didn't mind those jerseys. The 2011, 2012.
I like the blue ones in this one better.
Yeah, it's because they went with the darker blue as, like, the base,
and then the NHL is also blue.
Yeah, and they got the stars in the logo too.
Maybe it's just Patrick Kane being there. I think that's what it is.
The only thing I would change is the front numbers. I hated that experiment. Any team that had a front number, I couldn't stand.
Fair, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Is that Duncan Keith right there?
That is.
So why are they? These are all Chicago Blackhawks, but he's Brett Seabrook's wearing a white jersey.
Yes, so those were that's Patrick Sharp, actually.
Oh, okay, L for me. Sorry.
Wow. But no, those were the years in 2011 and 2012. Both those years for the All-Star game, they decided to do like captains, and then they did a draft. So they picked the players to play for their teams. Like each team would have a captain and assistant captain already assigned to the team, and then the rest of the team was drafted by those players. Like, yeah, so obviously he was selected by the other team. I guess whoever the captain, I forgot who the captains were that year, but they didn't want all the Chicago players being on one team, so they split them up. Obviously,
they split one.
I remember
they got rid of the one that they don't like already.
That's the thing too. You like, I remember watching those. Like, they were both on TV, those drafts, and like you could tell like there were some things that were already pre-planned, and like I don't know. It's just
Well, I'm sure the boys enjoyed it.
I mean, we all. I think we all got the amazing meme moment in 2011 when Phil Kessel was picked last.
That. Yes.
Yeah, and everyone got a good laugh from that, but he ended up winning the car, so jokes on everyone else. Then I remember the next year, Ovechkin had like a piece of paper, and he kept getting like they were interviewing him in like the room before they come out to be picked.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh, like I need to go. I want to go last. I need a new car." But apparently, then I remember he didn't get picked last, and like he was like disappointed about it. And then I remember hearing after he wanted the car because he was gonna give it to someone who like was in need of that, like I guess in the Washington area that like needed a car, so he did it for a good cause, and he ended up buying them a car anyway. There so
I was gonna say, hopefully he did that.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he has the money to do it, so
why not? Why not? The last story, Steven, the big one, not big, but big, probably small, but big. Evander Kane, he, with all the controversies, finally gone from San Jose. And everyone's wondering where he's going to sign to next.
Is everyone wondering, or is it going to be Edmonton? Because I think it's going to be Edmonton.
The signs are looking like it, and apparently he already signed with Edmonton for 1.5. That is coming from the Edmonton Journals. TSN reports. Sounds like Kane is already signed by Edmonton for $1.5 million prorated. Technically, he needs to be under contract before any suspension kicks in. So it can't actually go through until this COVID situation clears up, because he also, I believe, before the new year, the 30th, he went to Canada and failed to prove whether or not he had COVID or not, or he had recently gotten COVID and he didn't quarantine long enough.
Yeah,
and that was it. And so he went to over the border and caused a big ruffle in the NHL. So they have to investigate that, and so there's a slew of things that are surrounding this player, and it begs the question whether or not he should actually be given another chance or another look. Like, even if is his stature, is Antonio Brown worth it to have on your team?
Well, the actual Antonio Brown, no.
Okay.
I don't think he'll ever, like, I mean, I know this is different. This is NFL. I don't think he's in a different situation. He's basically, if you look back at all the things he's done, especially this year with Antonio Brown, he's burned every single bridge he's ever had. Like, the only reason why he got the chance with Tampa Bay Buccaneers was because Brady basically vouched for him and said, we need this guy and whatnot. He stood up for him, right? He even brought him into his home to live with him in his first, like, last year in Tampa Bay. Yeah, like, Brady was just classy about it. And then, like, you hear this year, like, right after Antonio Brown basically quit on the team, he basically just started ripping on everybody. And, like, he started saying, like, oh, like, Brady, like, needed me and whatnot. It's just like, yo, my God. Like, the one guy who actually gave you a chance and is the reason why you came back and got a job in the NFL, you're then blaming him and saying that, like, oh, he needs me and whatnot. It's like, he's burned every bridge. I don't think Evander Kane has burned every bridge. I still think he clearly does. He still has bridges and ties with the NHL. Obviously with Edmonton, all these talks about Edmonton, like Ken Holland saying, I believe in second chances, McDavid saying that Kane is a very good player. Like, I mean, that pretty much confirms their interest and that they really want him to be there. So whether or not he wants to go to Edmonton or not, that's the question now. But you know that when he does decide on what team he goes to, that team, especially if it's Edmonton, they're about to get a lot more media coverage than they are now. And I mean, right now they're getting a lot of coverage for bad reasons because of their play. If this negative bad play continues even after they get Kane, let's say, I don't know how messy things get there in Edmonton.
Well, look at San Jose. Give an example through San Jose because they had him for 2.5 years, and recently, this year in particular, they have been doing pretty well for themselves in San Jose. Is that maybe because Evander Kane hasn't played all year?
Right? Like maybe just him being out of that locker room is kind of like
what they needed.
Yeah, it's almost like just been like some guys are now like, oh, like we can breathe again. Like, you know what I mean?
So
like,
are we putting oil into the fire if you're putting Evander Kane in there?
I get it because of the Oilers. Oil, good one.
There you go.
It has the potential to be oil, but I think it should be water. It should put out the flames. But again, if things go wrong, a little bit of oil gets mixed in there, and then boom, internal combustion.
Internal combustion. They also got to get a goalie out there in Edmonton, going through some troubles there.
Marc-Andre Fleury, maybe.
Possibly. We'll have to see what they're willing to get rid of for him.
Yeah, exactly.
The trade deadline's coming up at the end of the next month, right?
No, it's in March this year because of the original Olympic break that was scheduled in the schedule. I think I can just look up right now. Yes. It is March 21st. So still 2 months.
Yeah, that's a long way.
Lots of time.
Wow.
Lots of time left. Yeah, that's it's the second last Monday in March.
Okay.
So yeah. Still lots of time to go. I mean, you don't need to panic now. And I don't even think teams are, again, no one's at 41 games played yet. So no one's even past the halfway point of their season. Still a long way to go. I mean, playoffs are going to be in May this year, which is just sounds weird how late that is. And yeah, I mean, a lot could change. The standings that right now probably definitely won't be the standings at the end of the year. So, you know, one team who looks like they're out of it now could get really hot and then make the playoffs out of nowhere.
A coaching change, goalie change, anything, a spark could happen. Like in Arizona, they have a really good goaltender, but he came out of nowhere from, I believe, Finland, right?
Vejmelka?
Yeah, the guy who won against the Leafs recently.
Well, okay, that was his best game of his career. I wouldn't like.
Well, he probably is. We're talking about Arizona here, right?
Yes, we are.
Like he's doing all right.
Okay, he's doing. I mean, yeah, their goalies, like none of their goalies are having a good year. Let's put that first and foremost right now. Full disclosure.
For what is on the table in Arizona, what they have in the system, and the fact that they acquired this guy who wasn't even the number one goalie for his original team in Sweden or Finland, wherever he was.
Czech Republic.
Karel Vejmelka.
Vejmelka, yeah.
Man,
the J is silent.
Do you see this? Do you see this screen here?
I'm getting it up on mine right now.
Oh shit! You see his face?
Yeah, I do. I know his picture. It's just it's like him in a mask. He doesn't even have a proper headshot yet. It's pretty.
That's right.
I was gonna say no. Like just the fact that that's his picture. That's pretty like daunting. You know what I mean? Like this guy he didn't stand in front of like a green screen or whatever and take a normal picture. Like he's just there in his mask mid game or mid practice, whenever that is.
Yeah. Like
that's actually crazy.
And then the lettering, the font for his name is adds to it.
Well, I think that's just the Coyotes website. That's just their font. But yeah, I mean, look at the other two guys.
0.910.
Well, save percentage, yeah, he brought that back up because before the game against the Leafs, that was like at 880 something or 890 something, I think. Yeah, like he like just, I mean, how many saves did he make? He made 45 saves on 46 shots.
Yeah, And then he
had
also
nine-
lost against Winnipeg, and even more shots against 48.
Yeah, a 958 save percentage that night in a loss. Again, only allowing 2 goals. So it looked like it's looking like he's starting to figure it out. And again, I heard too that like before this year, he had never played on North American ice. So very impressive that like he literally just came out and like the guy was thrown into a fire. And as a goalie, that is the hardest thing to do, to just be tossed into this super difficult situation and be told, make some saves for us. It's like, it's not everyone can do it.
It's like, you know what our team's about, and just have fun.
Pretty much.
We're not serious. We just want to coast. He's got 4 wins, 13 losses.
Poor guy.
Not a great record, but that's not his fault. It's
no,
a product of the
not
team.
at all. Yeah.
Is that it for the episode, Steven?
I think so. I think we covered it. Yeah.
Look at that. We finished another 1T Hockey podcast. Guys, leave a like, subscribe, dislike it if you hate us. If you hate
I hate me.
Yeah, if you hate me, or if you hate Steven, that's on you. So dislike yourself. If you dislike me, that's fine. Yeah, there you go. See you guys in the next one. Peace.
See ya.